So today we're gonna, well, we're not gonna do anything, I guess. I'm gonna change my guitar strings and I'm filming it while I do it. You get to watch, so together we're doing this thing, whatever you'd call it. My guitar needs new strings. Lots of people have been playing it and touching my guitar without necessarily having pristine fingers and without necessarily having wiped down my guitar in between. So it's time for some new strings. They've lost their clarity, their brightness. They still sound okay. I think I used DR strings for this, the DR acoustic strings. They've been good strings. They've lasted quite a while. But I'm going to go over a few steps, a few tricks. If you've heard different ways of changing strings and things to do and not to do that don't line up with what I'm saying, that's cool. Do whatever. I'm just sharing with you what's worked for me over my last 40 years of playing guitar or whatever. So here's a little test to see what they sound like now. There you go. A little before, and then we'll do an after when we're all done. Some of the tools we're going to use, or materials. First, we're going to need new strings, right? This time we're going to try something I've never tried before, a set of strings, a type of strings I've never tried before. I've never even heard of these strings before. I saw them pop up on Amazon, so I bought them. Ernie Ball Earthwood acoustic guitar strings, silk steel extra soft. You need strings, you need a little winder dealio. I don't even know what this thing's called. It's a little thing, but you put it on here and you spin it around. I'll explain right now why you need one of these. Never grab onto your string and wrap it around the peg like that, because what that does is it puts twists into the string as you do it, and it's not good for the life or the sound of the string. You always want to use one of these things, because unless, I mean, you want to sit there and turn it forever and double dual grandpa low as it winds the string on there, you need one of these, and they're only like $1.50. You know, you can get them anywhere. And you got to be able to give your guitar a haircut when you're all done, so you need a pair of clippers. I've seen people, they do little fancy loops around. That's cool, style thing. For a while when I was like really young, like 13 or 14, I mean, I thought it was really cool to have the strings. It's like, I don't care, man, my strings are all flopping around up here like loose ends. I value my eyes too much to have, in the eyes of my loved ones or my dog or whatever happens up upon the headstock of my guitar while I'm playing, to leave little sharp steel strings hanging down. So you got to have a pair of cutters to clip them when you're all done. You also need like a cloth or a towel, like a bar towel, and I'll show you when we get to that part, and something to clean your guitar with. What I'm going to do, the way I like to do it, I like to take, I mean, I've heard the school of thought that says you take off one string and then you replace one string, and then you take off a next string and then you replace that string, and that maintains the tension so you don't mess up your neck and your torsion bar that's in the middle of the neck and all that stuff. Yeah, well, I've had this guitar for 25 years. It's a Taylor, it's a nice guitar, and I've always changed my strings by taking them all off and then cleaning my guitar and then putting them all back on again. And I've never had any trouble with it at all. So fair warning, now you know that's the other way of doing it. And if you don't agree with my way, you know, that's cool, but that's just the way I do it. What I hate is, you can't really see it so much on an ebony fretboard, but like on a maple fretboard, you see this, like the dirt and the grime from all the dead skin cells and oil that builds up over the years. And it's nice to clean that stuff off, right? So you can't really do that unless you take all the strings off. And if you keep it clean, every time you change the strings, whether it's once a week, once a month, once a day, I mean, I don't know, it depends on how much you play. If you just wipe it down a little bit, keeps it clean, keeps it looking nice, just take care of your stuff, man, right? Okay. We are rolling, we're live. Put that bad boy on there, and you pluck it so you know if you're turning it the right way. Oh, I'm not turning it the right way. There we go, now we're turning it the right way. You want to make sure you turn it the right way, because if you don't, obviously you'll snap something and maybe you'll put an eye out that way. You loosen it up, See if you can see that there. Loosen up to where you can get that thing and just pluck it right off there. And you take this, go down here to the other end, and these things have this handy dandy little notch on the end right there. So what you do is you take that, so you can see, you plug that into the back end here and gently lift. And there you go, you set it aside. What I like to do is I like to set the little pegs in order so they go back into the same hole they came out of. I don't know if it means anything or not, but it just works. I mean, nothing worse than tightening your guitar and have this thing keep popping out on you, know. So like I said, I don't know if that's really necessary or not, but I like to keep things in order. So that's one string. Repeat that process with all the strings. So I got all the strings off here. What I do now is I take these and I wrap them around, coil them like this, nice and neat, and then on the last wind, I bring them through, and what this will do is keep them all together so they are, which way does that go? So they are easy to dispose of later. Helps to, there we go, like that, see? Now they're all nice and neat. Well, kind of, you got a few loose ends here, you can wrap them as tight as you want, but then you'll put them back in the package when you're done and throw it away, and nobody gets mad put out. I'm not paranoid or anything, it's just like my eyes. You can see now, there's no strings on my guitar. When I play it and strum it, nothing happens. It's a good sign. If you look real close, I don't know how well you'll be able to see on there, but you can see little lines where, you know, the dirt has accumulated and stuff. And then it's like, just, you know, my guitar's not too dirty. I keep it pretty clean, but anyhow. You also want to make sure you go up here to the headstock and get that dust. I don't know if you can see the dust. See the dust on there? Yeah, we don't want that. You get up in there and clean that stuff all out and get around in there real good. Keep your axe clean, man. I take a little bar towel like this and I use it to kind of go in and just real quick clean up my little frets, wipe them all down real nice. In the past, I've used like furniture polish on my guitars. I know it sounds weird, but if you get the no wax kind of furniture polish, man, it cleans it up. I mean, it's wood, right? It's ebony. It cleans it up real nice, and it just works really well. I'm gonna show you something here. Look at this funk. Oh yeah. Yeah, nastiness. Gotta get that off your guitar. All right, I've depackaged the strings. You can see on here it shows you, somewhere on the package it'll show you, you know, the order of the strings, the number, and those are thousandths of an inch in diameter. So, you know, like for my electric guitar, if you play with a little bit light, these are actually pretty light for an acoustic, but you know, I'm not looking to get a Stevie Ray Vaughan sound out of this guitar. It's just a light acoustic guitar. So, but you start with the little string on the first, and you go up to the big string. It's real easy, right? All right. When you take these out, be careful because they're spring steel, and sometimes they'll go boing, just like that one did. See that? And if you're down in here looking real close at it, and you pull that thing out, it might get you in the eye. It's not good. I should be wearing safety glasses for this, actually, but it's not cool. All right, got my peg in order. What I'm gonna do is put the little brass ring end in to the hole. Now you notice this peg has a little, I don't know if you can see it there, it's got a little slot. So what you want to do is you want that slot to face the string. Place it in there so the slot faces the string, and then pull up, even before you really tighten it. You pull up a little bit, you can see that there, so that you can actually see the wind a little bit, and it's up against the bottom of the peg. See that there? And I'm pushing it down in there, and then I'm going to pull it tight. Then it's good. It's kind of locked into place. Oh, all right. Run it on up. look at the little tuning peg up here. What we need to do is make sure we come in from the inside of the peg, hit the hole right there, come around, probably can't see that very well, but come around, and we don't want a ton of extra string up on this peg, but we do want a good amount on the smaller ones, like on the E string, the B string, and on the G string. On the strings that aren't wound, you got to have 3 or 4 minimum wraps around the peg so it stays in place, because it's real slick. It's not wound. See, you get the thicker strings here that have that brass, the phosphor bronze, the bronze wrapping around it. Those grip the peg really well. So when you get up to the bigger strings, you only need like 1 turn, sometimes less than that. But 1 turn, 2 turns. You don't want this big goop of guitar string wrapped around your peg, right? You just want a little bit, the least amount possible, to keep it from slipping. So on the E string, we're gonna want, like I said, like 3, 4, 5 winds around there. That means we're gonna have to use our little spinny dealer here a lot. Okay, so you come around and you kind of just kink that string. I'm gonna kink it. See, I'm gonna make sure I got a good amount here. See, it's kind of up and around. I mean, it's like, well, you want about 3 or 4 inches above the fretboard there. You kind of kink that string around, and then you pull it up, or hold it up. The up part is the little loose end, and we're going to trim off later. And then you spin that around. I guess I'm spinning it counterclockwise, it looks like. And then you hold it tight. Hold it tight with your fingers, like thumb and forefinger right here off that peg. Hold that tight because you want a nice tight wrap around there. As you look at it, you want that wrap, as it winds, you want that wrap to go down the peg, not up the peg. You want it to go down the peg. Just take it on around there. You can see, you can imagine if you just had like your fingers sitting there doing this number forever, you get carpal tunnel syndrome from stringing your guitar. It'd become a workplace hazard. All right, now listen. That's good, right? Now we got this little excess here, and we've got a nice wind. I'm going to show you that, see if you can see that right there on that peg. I don't know if you can see, the lighting's not that great, but you got 3 or 4, 5 wraps around there. You got your little string sticking up here, and what are we going to do with that? We use our handy dandy cutters, and we're going to go in there and make it gone, just like that. We're going to do the same thing with the next string. It's a 14. So we got our little guide there, 10 and then 14. Now we're on the 14. This is the B string. Unwrap it carefully. Watch your eyes. I really care about you guys. I don't want your eyes to get poked out by a guitar string. Get your peg. Kept it in order. Keep the groove toward the string. You can see that all right. Pop it into place there. Hold it down. Kind of make it so the winds come up, and then push it down into place. Take it across the bridge there. Take it on up. It's wanting to pop out of there. All right, and then take it up to the tuning peg. Stick it through the little hole there. Too vain to record this with my glasses on, so I'm kind of like going blind here. You see me like reading the package. I'm going like, oh, it's a 14 there. Yeah, that's because eyes ain't what they used to be. All right, once again, we want about 2 or 3 inches up there, above the fretboard of play. Hold that up, kink it up like that, and then hold it with our thumb and forefinger there, and start spinning that bad boy around, holding it nice and tight as we spin it. And you want the wind to go down, not up. go. Look at that. And we get to where we can start making a tone. We'll start playing it a little bit. You might want to go back here to the little peg, push it down, make sure it's in place and locked into place as you do this. Because sometimes they'll want to pop up on you. Hear that? It's popping up, I think. I'm going to push it back down again. Well, we're good. It's just stretching out. Here we go. Listen to that. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Nice and tight. All right. See what I'm doing here? I'm pushing these pegs down in to make sure they'll kind of like pop into place. They'll pop in there. It's good. All right. Horrible sounding, out of tune stuff, but we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna take my cutters, cut that. It's good. See, these cutters, they used to be better than they are, but what happened is one of my children, I think, took these nice electronic wire cutters and tried to like cut a nail or something with them. So we got all these little grooves in there. So I gotta find a place without grooves before it'll actually work in the guitar string. All right, here we go. Now we got the G string. I was wrong when I said the G string wasn't wound. I don't know what I was thinking. Sorry about that. But obviously the G string is wound. We're going to get that on there. Now, as the G string, as we're putting this on there, we're going to notice that we don't need as many winds as we did on the ones that were not wound. There we go. Same type of thing. Boom, boom, boom. Pushing the peg. Listen for the tone. Crank it up, making progress. Now with the D string, we're going to notice that things are getting a little different here because we're still going from the inside out, right? So you got to come in from the inside. It's, you know, you've been going from the outside, I mean from you looking through the little hole there on the peg and taking it through, so they're all on the inside. Well, you want to make sure that you come in from this way. On the D string now, you come in this way, and on the A string and on the E string, bring them around the other way. Tighten it up. A string. Okay, look here. Just make sure you understand. This string right here, the free end part goes over the top of the wind of the part of the string that goes back down to the body of the guitar. You see that there? See we're doing that, and then. Nice, there we go. Look at that, we got like one wind on there, and seriously, that is all you need for those wound strings. You just don't need that much. It's just better because there's less, I mean, there's more contact with the peg, more of the actual string that is being played contacting with the peg rather than having a bunch of wraps and then having a couple of layers of wraps and then having the string that's being, the part of the string that's being played up against itself as it's wrapped around the peg. Not so good. Less is more. Just go minimal with this stuff. Remember, cut that crap off there. You don't want it. Second E string, the big E string. We're done. Got this bad boy wrapped around here. You got barely even a whole wrap on that. It doesn't matter, we're good. Okay, we got a little more than a wrap, like 1 1/8 of a wrap. Nice. We are done. I'm sorry. I get excited with new strings. New strings are awesome. Just look at that. Aren't they pretty? I'm using this super tight I forgot what it was called. All right, so I got the initial tuning done. I got everything tightened up. Looking pretty good, sounding pretty good. My guitar is clean. It's got brand new strings on it. My hands are clean, no oil on them. So this is really cool, right? Here's what's gonna happen with these new strings. They're gonna stretch. They're going to go out of tune really fast. So once again, like I was talking about before, there's different schools of thought for everything when it comes to the guitar, and everything else under the sun, right? People are gonna say you shouldn't stretch your strings on purpose to get them to normalize. Once again, I've been playing guitar for a long freaking time, and I've never noticed any kind of life expectancy shortening, or any kind of, you know, adverse reactions to my strings. I've never noticed my strings not lasting as long as they would have if I hadn't stretched them in the first place. I think it's a bunch of junk. So I recommend going ahead and just stretching the heck out of these things right away, and it'll stay in tune for a long time. It'll stay in tune a lot faster than if you just let it go naturally. You let it go naturally, you just sit here and play for a while, like, I'll play, and then I'll play, then I'll try to play again, then it might sound tuned, it just doesn't sound right. Actually, stay in tune pretty good. Doesn't matter. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna use my new tuner that I bought. I got this also on Amazon. It's a, what the heck was it? A Snark ST2 multi-instrument chromatic tuner. This thing's really good. We've got a violin player at home, we've got bass player, we got a guitar player. You slap this thing on any stringed instrument and it's gonna work really well. There you go, that's it. And you play the note and it pops up there, and then you just like crank it in where it's supposed to be. So far, I mean, I've had a lot of tuners before. This thing is really working well. I like it a lot, and it's cheap. I'm like 15 bucks or something. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this E string and I'm gonna grab that thing and bend it right back and forth, and then I'm gonna grab the A string. I'm gonna do the same thing, right? D string, back and forth, up and down. When I first started playing guitar, and I tried to stretch my strings into place, I would like bend them. It takes too long. It hurts. I mean, why would you want to do that? So, but you just grab a hold of them and just yank that thing up and down, not out. Don't go out. Up and down. There you go. And then make sure your pegs are nice and tight. These are holding really well. Now listen. Oh yeah! Got them tuned up again. Sounding great. One thing you'll notice is sometimes when you're tuning new strings, or you're tuning your guitar, notice this when you're doing alternate tunings also, when you start playing the slide, or you're playing cashmere or something. Well, what'll happen is you'll tune your guitar, you'll hit that low E string, and it'll be dialed right in, and then you'll work your way, you know, all the way up the guitar, and you'll tune all the way up to where you hit the top E string, and then you'll play the chord and it won't sound right. You'll notice that the E string is flat. Well, why is that? As you tighten all these strings up, it's bowing the neck in just a little bit, and if you bow the neck in, you reduce the distance between the bridge and the nut. It makes the string looser, makes it go flat. So then you got to tune it up again. So you got to get it. It's just like get it as close as you possibly can, but you have to go through and tune it a couple of times. That's okay. After you get it tuned again, guess what? We're gonna do it again. We're gonna stretch. I can see the comments already down below. It's like, what are you doing to those strings, man? Oh, you're just a burp, burp, burp. Whatever. Haters gotta hate, right? Go ahead and hate. All right. Oh, horrible. I'm gonna tune it again. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Subscribe to the channel, and I will play these strings out for the next couple weeks, and then we're gonna swap them out with a different set, and I'll give you a review on how well I like these strings. So far, they are silky and smooth and soft, and I like them. They sound pretty bright, but you know, I gotta play for a while, and I gotta play a few different types of music to really see how well they're gonna work, or how well I really like them.